And I'm Bruce Karasik, co-founder of the Jewish Republican Alliance. We're so happy to have Diamond and Silk here with us today. We'll be speaking with them in just a few minutes. But first, what Joe Biden said yesterday was one of the most ridiculous comments I've ever heard. Now, that's saying a lot because he's got so many things to choose from. But here's what he said. He said, unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community. Now, seriously, Joe, this follows his comments at the end of May of last year when he said, if you got a problem figuring out whether to vote for me or for Trump, then you ain't black. Well, tell that to Larry Elder, Candace Owens, Leo Terrell, Ben Carson, Brandon Tatum, Alan West, Kanye West, Thomas Sowell, Joy Villa, and tell that to Diamond and Silk. I'm sure they're going to have a few things to say about that in a few minutes. But the whole idea that Biden can dismiss a whole race as a robotic, monolithic arm of the Democrats is just preposterous. I thought we were all past this, but to have the nerve to think that Black Americans are all in lockstep without having the freedom to think or analyze or independently arrive at their own independent decisions, to me is just insulting and flat out wrong. But he has a history of those comments. Remember his recent comments where he said, poor kids are just as bright and talented as white kids. I mean, the question I have is, does any of this really matter to voters? You know, I think it should, but there's a lot of things that should matter to voters. You know, this week, the Democrats in the California Assembly passed a bill 58-9 that would strip language. They want to take away language from the state constitution that prohibits the consideration of race and sex in public education, employment, and contracting. Now, after fighting for equal rights for all Americans for so long, Democrats want to make decisions based on race. I think that's unbelievable. Eric Garcetti is now saying he's going to turn off, he's the mayor of Los Angeles, the Democrat mayor. He's going to turn off water and power to anybody who has what he calls a large gathering. And violence continues in Portland. They used to blame this on President Trump. Now the feds are all out and there's still plenty of violence to go along. Elderly people are being covered with paint. Police officers are being hurt. And after all this is happening, the Democrat Attorney General of New York this week filed a lawsuit to close down the National Rifle Association, the NRA. Now, I think this is all going to backfire on Democrats. There's so much to talk about. I just want to leave you with a quote. It's from the great Viktor Frankl, author of the book Man's Search for Meaning, a book everyone should read with so many great lessons in this book. But he said, from all this, we may learn that there are two races of men in this world, but only these two, the race of the decent man and the race of the indecent man. Both are found everywhere. They penetrate into all groups of society. No group consists entirely of decent or indecent people. So there's a lot to talk about today. We want to get to Diamond and Silk, but I would like to first introduce fellow co-founder Mitch Silberman. Mitch?
Hello, JRA community. It's always so great when we're together. Last summer, Stephanie and I, along with 3 other JRA couples, drove for 4 hours to Palm Desert, where it was 120 degrees. Now, why on earth would we do that? Because we wanted to be part of the Chit Chat experience. What we saw when we got there was a room full of 2,000 people who obviously love our country, love our president, and yes, love Diamond and Silk. And as for Diamond and Silk, they were energizing, engaging, and incredibly informative. My one lament, though, was where was the media? They needed to be there. They have the audacity to accuse us of being racist simply because of our skin color. They needed to see that room full of 2,000 people, mostly white, who were there because they admire and support these two patriotic, passionate citizens of our country who are doing so much to help us all out. It's funny because unfortunately today, the Democrats are the party of bigotry, hatred, and now violence. So let's take a quick history quiz of our 2 major parties, shall we? Which party fought brutally to maintain slavery? And which party once they lost the Civil War, had a whole bunch of its members go off and form a despicable organization called the KKK. And which party filibustered the 1964 Civil Rights Act? You know, it reminds me of Rush Limbaugh commenting, he has not seen the Democrats this upset since Lincoln took away their slaves. Now let's go back with the quiz, shall we? Which party was founded literally to abolish slavery? And which party had a president that sent in federal troops to demolish the newly formed KKK? That would be President Ulysses S. Grant, a Republican. And finally, which party has a president who has done more than any of his predecessors for the Black community regarding jobs, economic opportunities, inner city investments, criminal reform, and funding historically Black colleges? The lying media and today's Democratic Party, which are virtually indistinguishable, are not only trying to recreate history, they're trying to cancel it. It is our party that embraces MLK's historic dream of his children living in a society where they are judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Well, we have two ladies of character here today. In fact, they are characters. And it's incumbent upon us to totally support Diamond and Silk. So let me give them a very brief introduction. They are, I'm so sorry, let me get this right. Diamond and Silk are now with us. They have their brand new book, which is called Uprising. And I think they just informed us too that they have a brand new show that is being launched. And they're going to tell you all about that too. They are internet sensations, influencers, the host of The Viewer's View, Chit Chat Live. And boy, are they doing a lot for our country and our president. So welcome, Diamond and Silk.
Oh,
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for
so much
having
for
us. What a
yeah.
lovely introduction.
Amazing. Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Ladies, we're so happy to have you here today. You know, what are your thoughts on Joe Biden's comments that I talked about earlier today and some of his other comments that he has made? What effect do you think that's going to have on the voters and their position on Joe Biden and whether or not to support him?
Well, first of all, we found the comments derogatory. You know, every time that Jim Crow Joe opens his mouth, he echoes the sentiments of bigotry and racism.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. I think that Black America is waking up. They are realizing how they've been used as a pawn over and over and over again by the Democrat Party. And if you don't, and just what happened in our country with the civil unrest, pumping their fists for an organization that don't even support Black people or even the nuclear family.
That's right.
And so I think Black people are waking up, and I think that the Democrat Party, along with Jim Crow Joe Biden, they're going to face some consequences. You know, for his words.
That's right.
You know, for the things that he said.
And so, as a man thinketh, so whatever's in his heart is going to come out. And when I look at Joe Biden, we call him Jim Crow Joe. He echoes the sentiment of racism. I mean, just look at him whenever he was on the Senate floor and how he called Black people predators. I mean, this man is gut filled with racism, and he want to call everybody else a racist. But when we look at Jim Crow Joe today, he is the real racist against Black people and against America.
And can I just say this here? You know, we look at everything. You know, back in the day, you had ball players, Black ball players, and Black rappers who all wanted to be like Donald J. Trump.
That's right.
You name me one Black man that ever wanted to be like Joe Biden.
Name one.
None. And Joe Biden has been in government for almost 47 years. That's almost half a century. He haven't done anything, not one thing for Black America that was good. He talked to segregationists because he didn't want his children going to school that looked like jungles. What was he referring to? He called Black people predators on the Senate floor. He pushed a crime bill that decimated the Black community, took Black fathers out of the home where Black boys and girls wasn't raised with their fathers. You see what I'm saying? So what good has he done for Black America? And if he couldn't do it in 47 years, he's not going to be able to do nothing in 4 years. That's why he's hiding in the basement. He can run, but he will never be able to hide his nasty past.
That's right.
Fantastic, ladies. What do you, I know you've both met President Trump several times. You've actually been in the Oval Office. I've seen you praying with him. What do you wish more people knew about President Trump?
He is for the American people, no matter the color of your skin. No matter the color of your skin, he is fighting for the Americans, for the average American person. Anytime you see him go up against these drug companies, the pharmaceutical companies, no, we're going to lower the drug costs for Americans.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see the Democrats doing that. You see a Republican, a President Donald J. Trump, that's doing that. That's working for the American people. When he say we gonna buy American, hire America.
That's right.
That's American. That's working for the American people. The Democrats aren't talking about that. You know why? Because they want to continue to skim from the top and leave the American people left at the bottom.
And they're part of the problem.
That's right. They okay with getting their kickbacks and their patty whacks.
That's right.
So when I look at President Trump, I know he loves America and he loves the American people. And it's all about putting the American people and America first.
That's right.
That's great. I totally agree. Today I was watching TV and commentator Lawrence Jones said that he asks Black Americans all the time, after so many years of big cities being run by Democrats, why not give Republicans a chance? And so he acknowledges that President Trump's federal policies have greatly benefited Black Americans, and so do I. But when it comes to being on the ground and in the communities, the Republicans are nowhere to be found. And it's reported that some Republicans are privately saying that they don't go into Black communities because they think they don't have a chance of getting votes. How can we turn that around and get your message and our message into the Black community?
Well, let me tell you something. Thank God for a diamond and silk.
Thank God.
Who's conservative and who's Black, and who preach it to the Black community.
That's right.
And see, if you already gonna set yourself up for failure, then failure is what you're gonna face when you go into these communities.
That's right.
Instead of thinking something, I guess, how about you go into and see what will happen?
That's right.
And you don't have to necessarily go directly into the community. How about when you see Black people and you talking about politics, how about you talk about what the Republican Party stands for and what it do and what this Republican president is doing for the country? That's what should happen. Go ahead.
But we also understand that the Democrats have pushed the Republican Party into a corner and have scared the Republican Party into silence. That's why we didn't vote for the Republican Party or the Democrat Party. We voted for the person, Donald J. Trump. See, it was Donald J. Trump that asked the question, what the hell do you have to lose? He's the one that reached out to say, okay, look, Black people, look at your schools, look at your community. It was Donald J. Trump that did that, okay? So now for the Republican Party, what we're showing Republicans what you have to do is open your mouth.
That's right.
And stop allowing them to scare you into silence. You're not a racist. The Republican Party is not a racist. It was the Republican Party that fought to free the slaves. And we have to understand our history.
Right.
With Diamond and Silk, they call us racist, white supremacists, and we two Black women.
Two Black women.
Okay, so now we understand this is just words that they keep throwing out there. But if you entertain those words, it's going to make you scared. And that's what they've done to the Republican Party. So now it's time for you to do like our book, We've Uprising, and Diamond and Silk had an awakening. It's time for the Republican Party to have an awakening and realize that the Democrats are just like that little man behind the curtains with the little strings. They're not this big old, they're not this big old giant as they try to
appear
like. That's right. And that's what we have to do. So for the Republican Party, don't be scared of Black people. Don't be scared to go into these communities and say, look, this is what we have to offer.
That's right.
And then educate us, educate the Black community. Once again, the Democrat Party is the party of slavery, systemic racism, Jim Crow, KKK. Back in the day, they used to wear white hoods. Today, they wear black masks as Antifa. It's the same script, different cast.
Right.
Ain't nothing changed. They're here to intimidate, manipulate in order to dominate. And we recognize that. So continue to educate and don't be scared to speak your truth.
That's right.
And let people put you into silence. Don't do that anymore.
Fantastic, ladies. One of the sadly hot topics of today is BLM, Black Lives Matter. Love to hear your thoughts about this group.
Look, let me tell you something. I will not be, listen, I believe Black Lives Matter. I believe all lives matter. But I will not be pumping my fist to an organization full of propaganda, believe in Marxism, want to push socialism and communism, want to disrupt and dismantle the nuclear family, leaving Black boys and girls without mothers and fathers. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with these corporations pumping all of this money into this so-called organization, and these hundreds of millions of dollars are not taken care of, are not going towards Black lives.
That's right.
They're going towards white left-leaning liberals and their campaigns.
That's right.
So we have a problem with that. We believe that all lives matter in this country, and it shouldn't take an organization for us to realize that. It shouldn't take a shooting for us to realize that.
That's right.
And it's not until Black people understand that we matter, that we stop killing each other, that other people will realize, hey, their lives matter too. You can't go and intimidate, manipulate, and make somebody bow down to you for you to feel superior. Because what you're trying to do is make other people feel inferior.
That's right.
I'm not for this foolishness that's going on in our country. I'm not for people attacking our white brothers and sisters, because it was white people that stood up and fought for Black people to have freedoms in this country.
That's right. And when I look at Black Lives Matter, I look at it, it's a little racist to me, because what if people was walking around talking about white lives matter?
We would feel some kind of way.
We would feel some kind of way. See, this particular organization, what they're doing is using Black lives as a pawn to push a white liberal agenda.
That's exactly
so
what
it's
they're
time
doing.
for Black people to wake up and stop being used as a tool.
Because when they did that, what happened with George Floyd?
That's right.
We all saw that on television. I don't care whether you was black or white, none of us liked it. But look at how the media tried to put us against each other and pull us apart from each other. Wanted us to believe that white people hated Black people. Wanted us to believe that every white person was racist. Well, I'm sorry, I've come into contact with Black people who was racist. Anytime you call your sisters out of their name, coons, Uncle Toms, out your mama, not your mama, what are you saying to us?
That's
because we think different. We have our own minds. We can think for ourselves, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
There you have it.
And not to mention, you know, we're talking about Black lives, these Black gatekeepers, these people that feels like you got your L. Sharpton and your Jesse Jacksons and these so-called Black leaders that's supposed to be leading the Black community. Look at what they've done for the Black community. You got the NAACP, all of these different organizations that's supposed to be for the Black community.
And the betterment.
And for the betterment of the Black community. But look at it. The Black community, a lot of them is still stuck in the same rut, looking really messed up.
So wait a minute. Let me just get this here out. You're absolutely right. If you look at and what have the NAACP done for a community? President Trump put in opportunity zones to rebuild these communities. What have the NAACP, the Rainbow Coalition, all of these here organizations that claim to be pro-Black, what have they done for Black community?
The betterment.
They ain't said nothing about the ABC stores, or the alcohol stores, or the liquor stores on every corner, abortion clinics on every other corner. I'm getting people to abort their babies.
And offsprings.
They ain't said nothing about that. If you notice, the Democrats are very silent when it comes to Black on Black crime. Where is Black Lives Matter now? So it's all propaganda. It's not going to take until Black people wake up and realize that I will no longer allow the Democrats or these gatekeepers, whether they Black or white, use me anymore. I have my own mind. I can think for myself.
That is really great. You know, over the last 4 years, I have, and Mitch has made dozens of speeches in support of Donald Trump. Some of them, the largest gathering of Jewish conservatives in American history, where we had over 1,200 people there. Our audience has been huge. We have not been afraid to speak out. But what do you say to the people? I'm curious how it's worked maybe in your family and in your circles, where, like in the Jewish community, there's probably 70% of the people that will always vote for Democrats, like the same in the Black community. What do you say to people who are afraid to speak out or experiencing problems, and what has your experiences been in the
Let me
past.
tell you something. I'm going to tell you not to be afraid.
That's right.
Because Diamond and Silk, we're not afraid.
Mm-mm.
And we're giving you permission to speak out. Sometimes you have to speak out. If there's something in the corner, a monster in the corner, you have to expose that monster so everybody will see it.
That's
yes,
right.
we've experienced hate, but the more they hate, the more we continue to educate.
Mm-hmm.
We as Black people can no longer vote for a system that keeps handing us crumbs,
That's right.
that keeps handing us empty promise. The only time you see the Democrats is every 4 years when they need a vote. We can't do that no more. You have your own mind. Whether you white, black, pinstripe, polka dot, or plaid, think for yourselves.
That's
you
right.
don't need anyone spoon feeding you a narrative.
That's right.
Fantastic, ladies. I know your time is somewhat limited. You're very busy with your new book, Uprising. There's so many, the audience loves you, Diamond, and so you should see these in comments. They love you, they love you, they want to know. So I'm going to go to some questions.
Okay.
Here's a question from Ken L. As a follow-up, what kind of changes have you personally witnessed in the Black community in rejection of Democrats?
Well, if anything that the Democrats pushed for the Black community was always horrible. There was nothing good. They never made any change.
Right.
Because if they made change in the Black community, then why does the Black community always complain, we need this, we need that?
Right.
Think about it for a minute. If the Democrat Party have ever done anything for Black America, don't you think Black America would have started prospering?
Right.
They didn't even prosper up under Obama. Obama put more people on food stamps. The unemployment rate was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Okay, now you got a businessman come in.
That's right.
And look at things up under a businessman.
Black
unemployment, all-time low.
Yeah.
He's giving more money to HBCUs than any president in the history.
That's right.
Opportunity zones. First step at giving people a second chance.
Yeah.
Where they can get out of prison, get a job, get back into the family structure, continue to raise their children.
And that's what this white Republican man did.
But see, the left, they don't want to talk about that. And then you have somebody like Jim Crow Joe want to come along and act like he want to take the credit for what President Trump done already done.
That's right.
Jim Crow Joe can't take the credit for nothing.
Nothing.
Because he ain't ever done nothing in this country.
That's right.
That's why he hiding in the basement.
I want to give you an opportunity to also talk about your new show that's coming up on Newsmax that you're going to announce. And then I have a question from the audience. Marlene W. is saying, were you both raised Democrats, and how did you walk away, and how did that transformation take place? So you can address both of those. We'd appreciate it.
Okay, so our show is on Saturday on Newsmax at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's called Diamond and Silk Crystal Clear, where we break down the news for the week. Now, if any of you all ever saw us on our social media platforms when we do our Chit Chat lives, it's going to be something of that feel, but it's going to be professional or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's on the weekends on Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Newsmax. So you can Google what listing, what cable network you have and what channel that is on.
Or you can go to newsmaxtv.com.
Yeah, and we're so excited about it. I mean, listen, when the devil tried to mean you harm, I'm telling you, God got so much good out there for you. So that was one of our goods that came. Now, how have we always been lifelong Democrats? Listen. Yes, because we were conditioned. Do you know they used to make people think, especially Black people think back in the day, that if you vote Republican, you won't be able to eat. And that was a lie.
That's right.
When President Trump, then the candidate Donald Trump came along, he was talking things that made sense. I'm going to secure the border. The first thing we thought, don't you secure your house?
Don't you?
Ain't the White House secure?
Isn't it?
America House should be secure.
That's right.
See, we grew up in an era where there were manufacturing and we saw illegal aliens come in and take these jobs.
That's right.
And put Black people out of work. They couldn't work.
Yeah.
They had to go back to school. So Obama convinced you to go back to school, get you a piece of parchment paper, and it ain't nothing wrong with college. Or get you a piece of parchment paper, but now you in all of this debt. It's just a 52 fake out setup.
That's right.
So I'm just saying that when then the candidate Donald Trump came out and the stuff that he was talking, we loved it. And we said up under Obama, nothing changed for Black America. We can no longer vote for a career politician. We needed the businessman. If you ever want to know what's wrong with the body of people, look at the head.
That's right.
We thought he's a billionaire. If he's prosperous, then the body of people is going to be prosperous. And look at what happened. Jobs started coming back. I thought Obama said you had to wave a magic wand. I guess that magic wand must have been President Trump.
That's right.
People started thriving and coming up.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship started going up. People making money, people prospering. All of that happening up under who? President Donald J. Trump.
That's right. So the mindset, when you look at that for the Democrat, it was generational.
Right.
We were taught that you had to vote for the head of the ticket. And if you didn't vote for the head of the ticket, then you was ostracized, criticized, and just about traumatized for not going along with the status quo. But thank God that we've realized that we have our own minds. We can think for ourselves. And because we have our own minds and we can think for ourselves, we were able, and because we have our own minds and we can think for ourselves, we was able to think outside of the black box.
Right. Sorry about that, you all. We have so many interviews and stuff back to back. People just come through. But can I also say this here? Just stop that, whatever that is. I want to go ahead and plug this here in.
Go ahead.
This is why Jim Crow Joe Biden can say the derogatory things that he say and make it look like black people all think alike. Because they've had us in a handbasket like that for years, for decades. And now Black America is starting to wake up, is what's happening. And that's what I love. And I want Black America to continue to wake up. Remember, you have your own mind. You can think for yourself.
That's right.
Well, ladies, I hope you're feeling the love. The comments we're getting, you are just hitting it out of the park. Fantastic. I have a great question from Julie R. What do you think about Oprah's new views?
You know, I was offended and I was appalled by it.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was appalled by it is because Oprah, a billionaire, making white people feel guilty for being white. That's just like white people trying to make black people feel guilty for being black. I wouldn't like how that, if somebody was making me feel guilty because of my skin color, I wouldn't like that. So you do unto others as you have them to do unto you. But Oprah have to realize she didn't become a billionaire because of black people.
No.
Black people didn't watch her show. Black people did not put her up there on a billionaire status. It was those white suburban women that watched her show, sat in her audience, and put her on that billionaire status.
That's right.
So for her to make those derogatory comments about white people with white skin, give them an advantage.
Yeah.
What gave her an advantage? Because she had black skin, she's not a millionaire, she's a billionaire.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So if I was white and I done bought a book or done patronized Oprah, I would be feeling some kind of way.
Most definitely, especially when she talks about white privilege. I mean, was it white privilege when those white people gave their green money to her?
That's right. She didn't get rich off of black people because back in the day, in the barbershops and the beauty salons, nobody liked Oprah. Black people didn't like her. But we know white America loved her. And for her to say something like that.
Yeah. It's like she's being used. When I look at Oprah and I talk about the gatekeepers, she's one of them.
Right.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Because they want to keep you stuck in the pain of your ancestors, keep you stuck in this black and white, black and white, black and white.
They talk about the Confederate flag.
Yeah.
But you support the party that created all of that.
Right.
You support the party that created KKK.
That's right.
You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You support the party that wanted to keep our ancestors enslaved, and then you want us to continue to support the party. Look, everything that you see that's going wrong in the country is because of the Democrats.
Right.
Even now with us being in the midst of a pandemic, you have these Democrat governors who don't want to open up their states to let commerce flow.
Yeah.
To
let people go back to work.
Let the economy flow as it should.
That's right.
Because the one thing about President Trump, he left us in such a surplus.
Yeah.
All you have to do is open back up the economy and it'll boom all the way to the top. But who's doing this?
Right.
Democrats. They don't care about our livelihoods. They don't care about our country. They don't care about our great flag. And then I see them, they want to kneel on the flag. If the flag was so full of hate, then why did they drape the coffin of John Lewis with that great American flag? That's why you should stand your behind up for the flag and not kneel on it.
That's right.
Yeah, and why were they able to have a funeral with large groups when people that I know are not even able to have small groups to gather people around?
But it's because we as Americans, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, let them get away with it. We don't call them out. We don't stand up for our civil liberties and our constitutional rights.
That's right.
We are the home of the free and the brave, not the slaves.
That's right.
So why are we acting like we the slaves? We pay their salary.
Yeah.
They get away with it because people like y'all, because it ain't me, are afraid to speak out and let these people have it.
That's right.
Been in this country running amok for all of these years, ain't done nothing for Americans.
That's right.
And that's what's wrong with them now.
Yeah.
The gravy trains are coming to an end.
Yeah.
The gravy train, and we're the only man that's standing in the way, our president, our great President Trump, listen, trying to get the cost of our medications down.
Yes.
Do you see the Democrat Party or Jim Crow Joe trying to do that?
And they ran on health care.
All of a sudden, Jim Crow Joe now want to create a job. You've been in government for 47 years. Why didn't you create it in 47 years? And you think America gonna give you four? I think not. It's an absolute, unequivocally no.
Ladies, we have so many great questions. We have another.
Okay, come on.
Bring them.
Lee A. Whom do you think Biden will select as his VP candidate? Could it be Michelle Obama? Who do you think it's going to be, and how will that affect the outcome?
Listen, because our former First Lady Michelle Obama is facing low-grade depression, we wouldn't need her in the White House. And she could be depressed. This is my own humble opinion. The First Amendment gives me the right to have it.
That's right.
Because things are closing in on her husband and what her husband and Joe Biden did, trying to frame American citizen.
That's
we
right.
don't know. We don't know. That could be I don't know.
I
don't know. I'm just saying, and that's my opinion. Okay. Listen, Kamala Harris. We know what she did as regards to having men locked up. She was getting high back in them days, smoking weed, but she would have men locked up for doing the same thing she was doing. So it's a no to Kamala Harris. Susan Rice, you was up there under the Obama administration in the midst of all of that stuff. You all trying to frame somebody and push this Russia collusion.
That's right.
It's an absolute no for her. There's one that served in the military. We thank her for her service, but because you want to run around taking down the statue, you want to erase the Democrat history. I have a problem with those that's trying to cover up and erase their history. It's a no for her. And Elizabeth Warren, how do you say that thing?
She don't know if she black, white, pinstripe, polka dot, or plaid.
Okay, you see what I'm talking about?
That's right.
And she also probably used, alleged affirmative action.
That's right.
To get grants and loans to go to schools because she claimed she was Native American, and come to find out that wasn't so.
That's right.
So no, I don't even want Joe Biden up there.
No.
He may start pushing a button and think it's his life call button.
He's falling and he can't get up.
We don't need none of them up there.
That's
we
right.
need you to vote red, R-E-D, remove every Democrat, and vote for President Donald J. Trump.
That's right.
So, ladies, what do you think about all the Black athletes now that are now kneeling at the national anthem, and white athletes along with them? It's now become what was prohibited acceptable. And now I'm all for equal rights for everybody. I think everybody was outraged by what happened to George Floyd, but now it's given people a license to kind of take sports into a whole new direction and disrespect the American flag and use it for a purpose that I think it wasn't meant to be used for. What are your thoughts?
Well, if they don't stand for the American flag, they will be kneeling in the unemployment line.
That's right. They're going to go from making $11 million to making $11 an hour.
That's right.
I think that it's sad and it's sick that they politicize our sports. You have people that don't want to look at it. NFL is going to stand for no fans left. Ain't nobody going to be watching them. They don't even understand that it's patriotic people that sit in the stands and buy the shoes and buy the whatever they're selling and buy the ticket, pay up in the thousands for tickets. And if you gonna kick them in the face, they're gonna go somewhere else and do something else. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna be playing and ain't nobody gonna be watching you. They're not gonna be able to pay you the millions that they pay you, and you're gonna have to go somewhere. Why would you mess up your sports like that? Listen, when we go and we look at sports, I don't want to see no political subliminal messaging when it comes to our sports.
That's right.
Stand up for the flag. You know why? Because there are patriotic veterans, people who protect and serve this country that fought for us to have the freedoms that we have today. And when you kneel on the flag like that, what you're doing is you're disrespecting those patriotic people, those veterans that fought and died for our freedoms. If you want to protest, go out in these communities where the crime is happening. If we need to change the police policies, let's change the police policies so that they can protect and serve and nobody get killed. But also, we need to change how we all interact with the police, because we can't go out there disrespecting them and acting any old kind of way. It's a two-way street.
And so, you know, like even when it comes down to our book, Uprising, who the hell said you can't ditch and switch? The Awakening of Diamond and Silk. We write about all of that in this book.
Yes.
We tell everybody what's going on, what's been going on, the Democrat tactics, because we used to be lifelong Democrats. And now we have switched our party to Republican in order to vote for Donald J. Trump.
And we did that back in 2015, September of 2015.
That's right. That's when we started the Ditch and Switch Now movement.
Right.
And so many people have ditched the Democrat Party, and now they are turning Republican so that they can vote for Donald J. Trump and vote Republican straight ticket. Because for them, it's about, do they want freedom, or do you want to exchange your freedom for all of this free stuff that you won't have once the money run out?
That's right.
So you can go to diamondandsilkbook.com to get your copy right now. That's diamondandsilkbook.com.
And it's sold everywhere in bookstores, Amazon, Walmart, all over you all. Right here. So get the book. And it's, you know what, when we was writing this book, I'm telling you all, there was the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows. But the media tried to portray us a certain way, and we needed to tell our story. Not only that, we also talk about the liberal ideology and what's keeping us stuck, particularly our Black brothers and sisters. Yeah. So you can get the book at diamondandsilkbook.com.
Thank you.
Well, just, you know, we are posting it in the chat so everyone can buy. Click on the link. We have great questions. I'm going to combine them into one from Judy F., Nikki N., and Terry D. And they all want the same thing about how are you getting your message out to the Black community? Who's brainwashing the Black youth? How can we get the Black community on board? These are really crucial things.
So let me tell you how it operates when it comes to the Black community. Some in the Black community, they say, I can't stand Diamond and Silk, but guess what they do? Mm-hmm. They have to come over to see what we have to say. So they watch us on our social media platforms. They may email us, and they may not totally agree with everything that we say, but we spark an interest in such a way where they have to keep listening. And then pretty soon they start to get it and pick up on, and they say, well, you know what? You're right.
That's right.
You are absolutely right about that. I understand that. You know, a lot of times, keep in mind, back in 2015, we was not all out there in the media. We used our social media platform to get the message across. Another way that I get the message across, when I'm taken and when I'm out at the grocery stores, at side stores, at gas stations, I'm talking to people.
That's right.
Because I want to see where their mind is at, especially around this pandemic. Where's the mindset, where your mind at? What are you thinking? What is your attitude? And we start talking. And then I tell them, you make sure you vote for Trump.
That's right.
We have a question from Eric L. saying that Israel is the light to the world and America's #1 ally, and Biden would probably do a lot of damage to undo that. What's your position on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the United States supporting Israel?
Well, let me tell you something. Israel is our allies. They are our allies. You don't go against Israel. We love Israel. We love the Jewish community, and we stand with them. The United States stand with them. And listen, you sure don't want Jim Crow Joe, because look at how Obama left Israel. Now we got to wrap this up because we got to go, y'all, because they calling us for another interview. I'm so sorry.
You are fantastic. We love you. The audience we have a Yiddish word called kvelling, which means you're making us just bubble up with emotion and gratitude.
God bless you.
I love you all. And listen, please have us back on.
We will.
For a whole hour.
We promise to make up for it and give you another whole hour.
God bless you both.
God bless you.
For being
love
on.
you all.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.
Bye. So Mitch, that was great, wasn't it?
Yes, JRA community, you're on fire with all the Q&A and the chats. I feel so blessed and grateful that we had them on. And I think you can see their fire and their passion. And if you have more questions, we have a little extra time. We just found out literally at game time that they had to leave a little earlier than planned. But weren't they terrific?
But they're going to be back on before the election. We'll have them back on.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a lot of great things coming up too. These ladies are smart, they're informed, they're entertaining. You know, it's a battle that we're all facing. But Mitch, our group, the JRA, we're uniting and energizing conservatives to take action on behalf of America. We're giving people ammunition. I mean, how much ammunition were they given today by these amazing ladies? They're not afraid to speak out.
Yeah. One of the questions we get all the time is, are these being recorded? So yes, thankfully, we have amazing help with Mark Widower, West Hills Web, and Tracy Krasik, TLK Media. These are being recorded. We typically shoot them out a few days after. So it's great that you're participating and you're watching, but how many people can you think of? Can you think of 5 people that you wish had watched this broadcast? Okay. So you will get that recording and you can send it to them and just encourage them to do that. We have one question. Someone, I don't know how many of you heard this. Someone asked us to repeat. They said RED. Do you guys remember what she said RED stands for? Replace every Democrat. So that's what Diamond or Silk we're talking about. RED, replace every Democrat.
Mitch, I just want to cut in to let people know a little bit about what's coming up.
Yes.
Next week, we have the amazing Charlie Kirk on Friday. And then the following week, on August 21st, we have one of my favorite conservative commentators and good friend, and he's a great writer too, Mr. Larry Greenfield will be on. And then we're going to have the following Friday, Joel Pollack, who's the senior editor of Breitbart News. We are excited to announce that Mr. Alan Dershowitz is going to be coming on, as well as actor John Voight. So we've got a lot of great things happening.
Yes, and most of you, I would say many of you probably listen to Dennis Prager regularly, and I've become friendly with his producer. You may know him as the Living Martyr. His actual name is Alan. He's an amazing guy, and he had a comment about what's going on now, whether it's the violence in the street, whether it's our elected leaders on the Democratic side unwilling to condemn Antifa or condemn the violence that's going on. Now, big tech, more than ever, is censoring conservative content. So I think a lot of you have seen it, but his comment to all that is it's time for all hands on deck. All hands on deck, meaning anything that you can do to help secure the outcome that we all want. We are thrilled that you're all here, that you're watching. I can tell by your comments, you love Diamond and Silk. You loved Kurt Schlichter last week. You love Brandon Strzok. And this is great. This is Bruce and I do this out of the passion for our country and for Israel. But now it's time to say, well, what can you do? Is there some little thing that you can do to get someone to register to vote, to participate? There's a whole list of things. But as Alan said, all hands on deck.
So until we meet again, everybody, I wish you all a great weekend and a peaceful Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and wishing you all the best until we see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Shabbat Shalom.